Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Hello, come on in. Tell a friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome to tonight's Talk About You. I'm the host, Kym Lee, one of the amazing brand ambassadors here at the USA Fibroid Centers. I welcome each of you tonight. Thank you so much for jumping in. Listen, I see you guys coming on in. I'm waving to you, sending you all kind of love. Where are you coming in from? Where are you coming in from? I'm excited to have you here with us. I'm so excited to have you here with us. Our headquarters is in Chicago, but I'm here tucked away right in the DMV, which is the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And we are spreading the message of hope to women all over the country and across the world about uterine fibroid embolization and about some of the startling statistics that deal with fibroids. So I see you guys are coming in. You're coming in from Durham, Raleigh, Durham. Welcome tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you that are coming in. I'm so excited to have you guys to join us tonight about this very important conversation. And we affectionately call this broadcast or this segment Talk About You. And it is short for your uterus. So this is really about women's reproductive health, where we are here to share valuable information, invaluable information, if you will, to women all across the world about our uterus and some of the startling statistics that deal with fibroids and how we can rid ourselves of this horrible disease that has plagued so many women, not only in the African American community, but abroad. And you'll see as we go on throughout the year, some of the women that we'll be chatting with is gonna blow your mind, because it's not just the African American woman thing, it's a woman thing collectively, like all over the world. So I wanna know where you guys are coming in from. I'm waving to you. I'm waving to you as we wait for our guest tonight. Are you excited tonight to have our guest? Listen, our guest is so dope, and I want to make sure that I am introducing her once she arrives. And she is here. I see her. She is backstage. I'm going to just have her to go live now to join us. I think she is popping on in. She is popping in. Y'all come on, give her a clap. Come on, give her a clap. I think she should be coming in. I just accepted her request. But you know how sometimes social media is, y'all. It has a mind of its own. There she is. Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good, my Kym Lee. How you doing?
Oh my God, my Bevy. Oh my God. Let me tell you something, Bevy. I have been stalking you for so many years and admiring you from afar for so long. And about 5 years ago, I finally had an opportunity to meet you in person. Yes. And with you personally. So I'm usually normally serving you, but tonight you are gracing us and serving us. And I am so grateful for that, for you taking the time. You had such a busy day. I've been following your story all day. And you are, I just inboxed you. I was like, girl, you dope, okay?
Thank you, baby. You know, it's a blessing to be baby, and you know, I still have to manage my life and make sure I'm taking time for myself. And, you know, and that's a big part of why I wanted to come on and talk to you. And, you know, because my journey with fibroids is vastly different than a lot of my friends. But I just think that it all comes down to self-care. It all comes down to making sure that we are aware of what's going on with our bodies. And, you know, a lot of times when you're not doing self-care, you don't even acknowledge when you're not feeling well. You don't even acknowledge when things are not right. You just keep it pushing. But we have to learn how to kind of, you know, take that under, you know, in control and start really looking after ourselves.
And I'm so glad you jumped right in. But for those that don't know exactly all of your accolades, I feel that it's only necessary to let them know who you are, because I believe in giving people their flowers. And because you're so dope, I'm gonna take the time to read what I have gathered from your press, because it's just necessary. I think people need to know not only all that you do, but all that you've endured while you were doing all this. Right? So I want to just let everybody know how excited we are to have you. But not only are you a Sirius XM radio host on Bevelations, which is on Radio Andy, but you also, guys, you've seen her on ABC on The View, right? You've also seen her on Wendy Williams, right? You've also seen her. She co-hosts a nationally syndicated. She used to co-host a nationally syndicated show called Page Six TV, which was dope. Which we
Thank you.
And you are a recipient of so many awards. I mean, so many amazing awards. I remember when you won the Black Women in Media Pioneer Award, and I was just cheering you on. And then you also the Gracie Award for National Radio, and you also released your debut book. And I was privy to be able to be with you on that junket here in the DMV. And it is called Bevelations, Lessons from Mother. We say mother, okay?
Yes, mother.
You spelled it with a TH, because I say mother with Auntie Bestie just last year. And you, even through COVID, continue to press your way with this amazing book. And you share how you went from a seemingly perfect life to ultimately, when you went from seemingly perfect to ultimately unhappy life. And then you had this awakening, like this genuine fulfillment, like you had this epiphany about what true happiness was. And you wanted to go around and inspire women around the country. So you were doing these book tours and these appearances, but it was more than just an appearance. It was like a movement. It wasn't a moment. It was a movement.
Yeah.
And I know that women are near and dear to you, and you are really concerned about our mental health and wellness. But I want to know a little bit about, and I know you said we need to take care of ourselves, but where does that connect with fibroids?
Well, I think when I look at myself and my issue with fibroids, like, first of all, I didn't even know I had fibroids until I was like maybe like 52 years old or something. Because and so mine might have come later.
Hold up,
because
over 52?
You
ain't over 52.
I'm 55.
Ain't no way you over 55.
Girl, I'm 55.
Good. You look good.
And happy to be 55.
We women of a certain age, because I'm over 50 as well. We try to keep our little gills head tight, honey, and keep it together.
But I'm proud to be 55. I mean, I feel good. I look good. And so I want to celebrate that because, with all these deaths that we keep seeing, tomorrow is not promised. So we have to celebrate each and every day. And so I just think it's important to own your age and to celebrate your age every single day. Shout it from the rooftops. Hallelujah, right? But for me, I didn't even know I had fibroids. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm supposed to be perimenopausal. I am perimenopausal. I should say I'm perimenopausal. And my periods just start getting really, really heavy. And that's when I was like, well, what's going on? And because really, honestly, before that, I used to have very, very sane and very, very kind of light, not light, but like regular menstrual periods. It was.
I thought regular was 7 to 10 days, because that was regular for me, but I realized that wasn't regular. What was your regular?
Regular for me was really quite regular. It was like 4 days, and you would have like, I would be able to just wear a tampon and do whatever it is that I wanted to do. And it wasn't, and it was actually, one of the good things is that I am 55, and so that means I should be moving into full-on menopause soon and very soon, which means that probably the fibroids will just kind of like go away on their own, hopefully. But, just last summer, I was in the Bahamas, and I literally had to set a timer on the beach because I had to go and change myself every hour. Now that doesn't happen. That had never happened to me before, and thank God it's never happened since. But yeah, that was a really scary thing. I was like, well, what the heck,
So when you found yourself, having to have a timer, it's because your period increased. I'm assuming the days started to spread out, which is one of the symptoms that is linked into fibroids. You have heavier periods. You have pelvic pain. You also have frequent urination. Well, did you experience any of those symptoms as well?
No, I didn't have any of the frequent urination or the pain. It was really just much heavier bleeding than I've ever experienced before. Like literally, I was a girl who was like, you know, I never feared to do anything. I was definitely the girl that could wear white pants on her period. You know what I mean? Because I never had a heavy flow. And so that was how fibroids really affected me, because the flow was much heavier.
Yeah, and
And then it started happening too, that it would happen like it would come back in the same month, and it would be, yeah, and but it wouldn't be as heavy and as intense, but it was certainly, yeah, 2 times a month sometimes.
yeah, I think that what women sometimes do, Bevy, they always put themselves in the box, like, oh, well, I didn't have, the pelvic pain, like you said, or I didn't have the frequent urination, so I probably don't have fibroids, when all along you do have a fibroid, which you just shared with us, which for those of you that are just jumping on, this is something that Bevy has really, she broke her silence tonight.
Yeah.
By you did not have to do that, but I know that you are such a huge advocate for healthcare, as you've done so much work in the AIDS and HIV and AIDS community. And now you're doing work in the mental health space by helping women to feel better about themselves. Now you've released and just shared with us the struggle with the fibroid. Ladies, if you're watching us, I want you to see that none of us are alike.
Yeah.
Of the same symptoms. Some of us may have one or two. Some of us may have only, all of them. Like I had all the symptoms. I literally, it was like, bingo, okay, duh, you got fibroids. It's like,
Yeah.
how many more signs do you need me to show you? But you are a unique case, because when we talk to women on this site or on this chat, so many of them tell us about horror stories about them having, they passing out, and them having
Yes.
hot flashes, and them, having all of these just really, it feels like near death experiences, the pain, not wanting
Debilitating pain.
debilitating pain. Tell me about that, Bevy. Were you in any kind of pain with your fibroid, or did it increase, or what did you?
No, I mean, I would just, now all of a sudden I have cramps, whereas I never had cramps before. So, it just went from 0 to maybe, on a scale of pain, probably a 3. But still, it's like weird, because it's like something I've never had to deal with before. I've never been a person to take Midol, Tylenol, Aleve, nothing like that when I'm on my period. But then when I actually had, was diagnosed with fibroids, I realized that I was getting cramps.
Cramps. If you're a person, and here's the thing about cramps, Bevy, because you're such a strong woman,
No,
right?
no, I'm not. I'm not strong.
Like it, like you, just because you're doing so much, because it's always like Bevy's on camera. So when I say strong, I mean that we could never see that while you were on page 6 or while you were on Wendy Williams. We never saw that while you were accepting your awards or whatever. You discovered that you had the fibroid. And so sometimes this is where women, what we do is we kind of overcompensate, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep moving because I'm busy, right?
Mm-hmm.
A full life, I got a schedule, and maybe these women that are watching might not be on Wendy Williams, but their life is important,
Yeah.
right? Just feel like I don't have time for this. Tell me, Bevy, and I want you to talk a little bit to them about how important it is to take time for yourself. You started with that a little bit at the beginning, but I know that this is part of your heart space. So talk to us a little bit about taking time to take some time.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to like stop down, and you have to take the time. You literally have to take it, as in you have to run into your life and command that you need rest, that you need some time for yourself, all of it. It's very important. And don't let anyone tell you that because you're not doing anything, then you should be doing something. No, doing nothing is now actually a luxury for Black women, being able to do nothing. So if you find yourself on a day when there's nothing on your schedule, enjoy that. Luxuriate in that. I think so often we've been ingrained with this idea that we need to always be on the go and hustle, grind, and all of this. And I don't hustle and I don't grind. I'm strategic in the way I work.
This just seems like you attract your success. Like it comes to you. And I know that it comes from hard work as well, because
Oh
you
yeah.
are very knowledgeable of what you do. And for those that don't know, I mean, she's been entrenched in the fashion and beauty industry for most of her life. It is, when I think about fashion, I think about you. I think about Andre Leon Talley. I think about, may he rest in, I think about pioneers like yourself who have made strides in the fashion community, an area in a space where we weren't always welcome.
No.
Americans, not always, but you seem to still keep a smile and still. So that's what I mean by you seem strong and you seem fearless, and you pushed your way through in spite of how you felt. And so I just appreciate you talking about how important it is to take some time for you. So many women don't take an opportunity to find out the truth about not only their mental health but their physical health.
Yes, and can I just say to that point too, like when I remember being on the set of Page Six TV, where you're seated and you do a show and it lasts for an hour, maybe was it 30-minute show? I can't remember, Chad. I can't remember if it was a 30-minute show or hour-long show. Anyway, but you're sitting there for a long period of time. And I remember once I had an accident on set, but that was due to the fibroids. That was due, and thankfully my the stage managers know how to deal with that kind of thing. Because at this point, I'm like in my 50s, I'm sure he's like, how the hell you have an accident in your 50s? You know what I mean? Like, so, but I was able to have it dealt with, and I had wardrobe, I had all the things. But like you said, there's so many women that are going to work and having that exact same experience that I had, but they don't have another dress in their dressing room to change into. You know what I mean? And that's why these fibroids really do wreak havoc in your life, because you are filled with fear and trepidation. That's the reason why I'm on my vacation in the Bahamas in May, and I'm setting an alarm clock to go and change my pad and my tampon, because I was doing double duty, because I was afraid, because I didn't want to get up from the beach towel on my chaise lounge and boom, there it is.
Women have shared with us that they have, like, even for myself being on set, a lot of times I'm on the other side of the camera, servicing you or whoever I'm working with, and I'm in all black, which is generally our uniform, and it was a way for me to normalize the foolishness, right? So okay, I'm gonna wear black, so just in case I do leak through, at least I got on black. I'm a thick girl, so I wrap the hoodie around my waist.
Yeah.
I got something extra because it's always cold on set. So, we normalize what it should not be normal. It should not be for us to be bleeding through clothes and having to set clocks while we're on vacation and having to change our clothes 2 or 3 times a day, which is often what I had to do because I have 14 fibroid tumors and I suffered with for over 12 years. It wasn't until my husband found me face down in the garage in a puddle of oil, almost like I was completely unconscious because I had passed out because my hemoglobin levels were so low because I had lost so much blood. And I had just come off of TV. I do, this is not about me, but I had just come from doing a segment on Fox about, beauty. And here I am feeling a horrible, ugly mess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just really oxymoronic to me for me to be talking about beauty and talking about fashion or whatever. And underneath all of this is a mess happening. And I know there are a lot of women that are watching. I'm looking at the comments, Bevy. I don't know if you're able to see them. One woman just responded and said she just had blood running down her leg today, because you don't have enough. Sometimes you don't got enough pads. You ain't got enough black on. You don't have enough. It's just too much. And so our message tonight, why are we having this chat? Why are we having this conversation? We're having this conversation because I want you all to see that there are women just like you. There are women that you aspire to be. There are women who you watch on TV, women that you are like me. You stalking them like, she's dope. She's epic. Life is so perfect. And then you realize, oh my God, we're more alike than we're different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why, if you are coming on, welcome to the USA Fibroid Centers page. We are here to give you information. We are here to have the conversation, because a lot of times we just don't have the conversation. Bevy, why do you think we talk about everything? Bevy, I sat in you sat in my chair. We talked about everything.
Everything. Well, you know why? But think about the way we even talk about our vaginas. We won't even say vagina. We say pocketbook and cookie and all these kind of ridiculous things. You know what I mean? We have. I remember being shocked that people really literally would not mention that they had their periods, or that they were. I was just like, wait a minute. Why is that a negative thing? Why is that a bad thing? Why is that something that should be hidden? I never understood that. And I think that there's like this shame around women and our bodily parts, even though it's the part that is so valued and treasured, because from a sexual point of view, but also from a life-giving point of view, everyone values and treasures what we have downstairs, our vaginas and our vulvas and all the rest of it. But people don't want to talk about it, and I think that that's a really a disgraceful thing, and it's something I definitely fight against. That's the reason why I fight against these kind of things. I also, and this is going to be controversial what I'm going to say. I also think that the whole notion of being a lady is a trap, because oftentimes when you talk about being a lady, it means ladies. Someone, El Boogie just said, we suffer in silence. Yeah. Ladies are expected to be ladylike. And what does that mean? Traditionally, that means if you're being ladylike, you're not being your most candid. You're not being your most honest and open person. You do have to have a certain decorum.
Right. Explain it like this, Bevy. This is so good. Keep talking.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I just feel like it's an issue about us having to perform as you'll hear men striving to be gentlemen, you know what I mean, and more of them should, but I think that for me, I strive to not be a lady, but to be a grown woman with agency, with that is in control of her life, and can actually come into the world and speak truth to power, and use my voice and use my various platforms to get things done. So I'm not interested in being a lady. They always say, well-behaved women rarely make history. And that is the truth. So I would rather, as John Lewis said, make good trouble. I would rather be outspoken. I would rather, have something real to say versus just sitting up demurely and calling my vagina a pocketbook. And not talking about the fact that I have fibroids, or not talking about the fact that I'm perimenopausal. I want to talk about all those things. I'm not ashamed of any part of me.
I love
it. I want us to learn how to own our truths. And because the more we do this kind of work, the less of us will have to. I have a girlfriend who had to get a hysterectomy because of fibroids. Meanwhile, as you know, Kym Lee, they're always trying to push us towards the most, it's easier that way, right? Because then you don't have to treat anything. You just take it out, right?
Exactly. And so this platform, we've created this space for people like you and others who are women's health advocates to have these kind of candid conversations, because, there are other options for women. So those of you that are listening, what we push and stress here is not being female castrated, which is the hysterectomy, where you the uterus, you remove the fallopian tube, you remove all of your female reproductive organs in order to remedy the issue of fibroids. And so what we are pushing here is the uterine fibroid embolization, which is a non-invasive procedure, which takes about 20 minutes, where they remove the fibroid through the vein. It is an in and out procedure, so there's not a lot of downtime. And it has been in existence, Bevy, for over 25 years.
Wow.
Nothing that's new. It's nothing that just, you know, we just came up with, like, we just, no, we've been doing this for 25 years. And the doctors here at the USA Fibroid Centers, we have over 200 centers around the country, over probably 25 of which are in New York, right in your home state. And if you're not conveniently located close to you, there's somewhere within some major city that's not far. And we are pushing for women to find out what their options are, one, and two, just find out if you have them. I think that instead of us assuming, you know, when my period is heavy, I think I got a fibroid, or I got a fibroid, but I'm just going to get the hysterectomy without knowing your options is really not cool. Because anything that Bevy said, she's not interested in following norms. She's interested in sharing truth to power. One of the greatest things, one of the greatest compliments I think that I've ever heard anyone say about you is what Whoopi Goldberg wrote in your foreword of your book, where she talked about having you in the corner of women. Like, you are that one that's going to be honest enough to tell people their truth. And I think that was life-changing for me, just reading that, because I know it to be true. I know you personally, but I want people to understand that we didn't just put Bevy up here and give her a script. Like, this is really who she is, and her desire for women to know who they are physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, all of that is important. I think women don't realize how we're not one-dimensional. We a lot of hats, and so if I'm smart and I got a good job, but my body sucks, I don't have a whole lot of, I don't have the energy. I don't have, you know, I'm sad all the time. A lot of that could be as a result, if you are suffering with some of these symptoms of the fibroids.
And it's also depressing, because imagine living your life that and also, like I said, if I'm having it 2 times a month, you know what I mean? So that's 2 times a month that I have to be like on guard. I have to be super paranoid and worried and all of that. So it can make you very depressed. You know, and someone just, Juicy Girl just said it affects your whole life. Exactly, it affects your whole life. So, you know, I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate that my fibroids don't give me great pain. And I'm also fortunate because I think my nice menopause is happening any moment now, which would be lovely. And so I'm hoping that, you know, that will be, you know, the end of that. But
we got to get you, because we want to make sure that, I think, you know, you taking that stand saying, you know what, not only do I know I have a fibroid, but I'm going to figure out what's happening with it. I want to challenge those women that are watching us to do the same. We have a 1-800 number that you can call, a toll-free number that you can call, where you can find out simply if you have fibroids or not, just by doing a teleconference with us, having a with us, and then getting into one of our centers. We're doing free consultations because we want women to be aware of your options. For those of you that are jumping on and you don't know what a fibroid is, because you believe it or not, Bevy, some people don't even know what they are.
No, because you just hear the word, and so you wouldn't know what they are. You really wouldn't. So yes, tell the folks what a fibroid is.
Yeah, so let me tell the folks what a fibroid is. And it's a non-cancerous tumor. It literally, it often appears during childbearing years, and I'm going to read exactly what it says. It can be as small as a seed, it could be as large as a melon. And it's approximately 25% to 50% of women with fibroids are symptomatic, which means they have symptoms, which is what we talk about. Bevys, in that other percentage of women who don't have the symptoms, and they're experiencing heavy periods, issues with pain in their backs, and increased urinary frequency and anemia. So this is some of the symptoms that you may have. And I just want to make sure that you guys are clear. I did give you one small tidbit of information that was incorrect. Someone just texted me and said we have 100 centers, not 200. We have 100 across the country, but still enough where you can still go into one of our facilities and be able to find out whether or not you do have one of these non-benign tumors, which is causing the heavy periods. I know for me, I had clotting. I had excessive bleeding. My periods were longer than normal. I had so many, like literally any symptom that they came up with.
You had it.
I had headaches, you know, and of course that came from me having the low blood.
Yeah.
Things. So it was debilitating. Like I think that's the word you used, but it also, you're right. It was very depressing because I felt like I was by myself. And I want to go back to why we don't talk about it. And you talking about us, it not being ladylike. I would agree with you on that because I think that as ladies, because when we first got our first period kit, right? It was something that we hid in our bags.
Right. Right.
Let anybody know you had a period.
Yeah.
Liminally, those messages of being discreet, which, you know, could be good and bad. We didn't have a whole lot of conversation about it. We knew if we missed our period, actually acting, you may be pregnant, so you didn't really want to tell nobody too much.
Yeah.
I think that for our younger women who are watching, who are of childbearing age, I think it's important for us because you do call us, you said mothers and aunties and like they look to us like that. It's our responsibility, Bevy, to have these conversations. And so for that reason, we thank you so much.
Thank you, Kym Lee, and I thank you for all the work that you do. You know, my sister Stephanie absolutely loves you, and you, your ministry has really, really helped her get focused, and I'm seeing such a great change in her. And then, of course, the work that you're doing with the USA Fibroid Centers is also incredible. And I just want to say thank you so much for being on top of me about this. I definitely want to go into the center and learn about my fibroids, you know, because, you know, although I don't have the most horrific fibroid stories, it has altered the way I have to live my life when I do have my period. So that's not okay. And my sister actually wanted to know, does it matter if you have children? And I say no, because I know so many moms who have fibroids.
Because they can affect and they can cause infertility, which a lot of women don't may not know that the fibroid is affecting, you know, them not being able to get pregnant. But if you do have the fibroids removed by the way of UFE, which is a uterine fibroid embolization, you can still have children. You still have the ability to have children. When you have the hysterectomy, which removes the female organs, then you're no longer a candidate for pregnancy. So that's another reason. We also don't agree with the hysterectomy procedure because, of course, you know, there are other issues that happen after the hysterectomy. Long-term effects that happen premenopause, you know, sometimes heart disease, because you have a whole empty cavity there that you no longer have organs. And so the other organs are overworking. And I don't want to get into the technicality of it because I'm not a medical doctor, but what I there are negative effects. Oftentimes, I was a recipient of the hysterectomy. I did not know my options. I did not know that there was anything even close to a uterine fibroid embolization. Why did I not know this? I had a hysterectomy 5 years ago. We had access to Google. So now you're telling me that here I am as a doctor in divinity. My doctorate is in divinity. Okay, it means I'm a doctor of ministry. So I did a lot of studying to get that. Why is it I did not take the time to find out about my health? I know everything about fashion, everything about who's trending, what's going on, but I didn't take the time to do the research about my body because my body became secondary. And so my whole platform here at USA Fibroid Centers is much like yours, Bevy, in that we have a voice in every other place.
Yeah.
Unlike you, you live in it. I wasn't living it, Bevy. I was just faking it until I could make it because I just didn't want to take the time because I felt like I was going to miss something. I felt like I was going to miss a gig or I was going to miss an opportunity if I even went and did it. I was like, listen, just take it, get it out. Let me get it done. And I did it during a down season, Bevy. I did it right before award season. So that by award season, I was ready because, you know, from January, we rolling. You know, I remember doing it around the holidays right before award season, and I was like, this is crazy. Like,
I hate that that happened to you. I hate that that happened to you. You know, that saddens me that you had an unnecessary hysterectomy. And I'll say this too, ladies, we have to learn to be advocates for our own health. We have to do the research. You cannot just go to a doctor and blindly listen to doctors. They literally told Kym Lee to have a hysterectomy because of, I'm sure, sheer laziness. And we also have to start dealing with people that respect us, respect our lives, and respect our bodies. Like someone said earlier, oh, they had kids, so the doctor was like, well, you already have children, so you get a hysterectomy. That makes no sense. Why would you guide me towards a surgery when there can be non-invasive options out there, like what you guys are talking about at the US Fibroid Center? So, we have to get on top of these things.
Here, Bevy, because to your point, I do believe that we should have doctors that we can identify with. But believe it or not, Bevy, as we're doing research, we're realizing that there's so many other ethnicities of women who are suffering with this. Latino women, women from the Middle East. There are women who are all over the world who are suffering with this. And so what I love about the doctors at USA Fibroid Centers is they realize that although 80% of Black women end up with a fibroid, but there are also a large percentage of women in other ethnicities that have them. And so the doctors here at USA Fibroid Centers are the most caring and concerned doctors I've seen. They haven't just targeted, African American communities. They're targeting women, period.
Yeah.
I think that that's what's very important, that women as a whole, a lot of times we don't have options,
Yeah.
and another conversation for another time as it relates to the whole insurance and medical, field.
But there's real disparities, racial disparities when it comes down to medicine. And I also have a wonderful white doctor who's my general practitioner. So I'm not against having doctors of any ethnicity, but what I am saying is, if you're going to a doctor and they don't take time for you, or they don't even really understand what goes on with you because you are a Black woman, that's not a doctor you should be staying with. Like, if a doctor doesn't know that Black women have far worse symptoms of fibroids than any other group of women, far worse. So we have to make sure our doctors understand what's going on with us. We have to make sure that they're listening to us. We have to make sure that we're advocating for our own health. And we cannot leave our lives in someone else's hands, And so when you find a good doctor, when you find, as you said, the doctors at the centers are caring and they're understanding, and obviously they specialize in this. So
they know what they're talking. They know, like you said, the disparities that we deal with. They know that many of us don't have options. They realize, the economic issues that we may possibly run into as it relates to surgeries. So they take most insurances, which a lot, these procedures that we don't have any idea about. Sometimes we don't have an opportunity to be able to have the finance to pay for them, but they do accept most insurances. And if you guys would just call in, I know many of you are watching now and you're just tuning in or logging on, but we do have a website. So if you go back to our page and you go to our website, make sure that you sign up for a free consultation so you can ask all of those pertinent questions, because every question that's on here, unfortunately, we can't answer, but they can, and they'll be able to help you and steer you and guide you in the right direction so you won't have these questions. Listen, this year, our theme, Bevy, is freedom for USA. It's freedom, and everybody's in this space, Bevy, where it's like that whole mean girl, keeping it, I'm not keeping it real, keeping things behind, closed doors and all that. That stuff is out of the window because it doesn't equate to freedom. It equates, basically, you living a fictitious, filtered life. And we just seeing snapshots of your real life when we look on social media, but you have been so candid and so vivid about your experience. And in closing tonight, I know you just gave us the best spiel ever. Honest with yourself, but if you could leave the women with any closing remarks tonight about the importance of loving yourself and having freedom, and also too, wait a minute, let me back up, y'all. If you didn't catch this good and you still confused about what we're talking about, go to the website, sign up for your free consult, and get her book. But as she closes out, the author of Revelations, this amazing woman, can you just share with us something that can keep us inspired to walk the journey that you walked to freedom, and you can close out in your own way.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Kym Lee. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and I'm so glad the folks came in and were engaged and wanted to have the conversation and seem to have really learned some things about, fibroids and about having options. And, I love that your theme this year is freedom. Freedom is something that as women, we have often been denied, throughout the centuries since the dawn of time. And so it's very important that now that we have so many different options in life, and that we do have a voice, and that we do have opportunities to lead these wonderful, magical lives that, our ancestors could not have even fathomed. It's important that we live them to the fullest. And so, I often think about the fact that I always say a prayer. I'm always like, God, just keep me. Because, my mantra is, it gets greater later. And when I say God, just keep me, it's because I'm like, I know I can still accomplish so many amazing things in my life, even though I'm 55. There's still a lot more for me to do. So I have to be here in order to do that. And I also have to stay healthy in order to do that. And so that is always like my prayer and my mantra. God, just keep me sane, mentally healthy, keep me physically healthy. And as we discussed on this live, is very often when you have fibroids, even for someone like me, who did not have the worst fibroid story, but you're not able to live your life fully free if you have to set an alarm clock so that every hour on the hour you won't forget to change your pad. You're not living free if you're on the set of a TV show and you have an accident and you have to call over the stage manager, and the show has to literally have a 20-minute break while you go clean yourself up and put on another dress. These are not ways that we should be living. And then, of course, for folks who are in debilitating pain, folks that are anemic because of their fibroids, this is no way to live a life. This is not a way to live a life that is free and robust and filled with opportunities. So we must take care of ourselves, and we must go and see about our health. And we have to advocate for our own health. We cannot wait for someone to do it for us. So when you go to USA Fibroid Center and you meet doctors and you connect with someone, come armed with questions. It's all on the Google machine. You can go and find out all the questions that you need to ask when you go to any doctor, and to figure out what the plan of action is going to be for you. Because we know far too long the answer has been just take everything out. Oh, you got fibroids, it's bothering you? Okay, do a hysterectomy. Happened to Kym. So we don't want this to happen to anyone else. If there's a different route that you can go, we want you to know there's a different option. So, I would say in closing, we have to do self-care. We have to advocate for ourselves, and we have to start speaking up. And we have to share this information amongst ourselves. And we have to start calling our vaginas, not cookies or pocketbooks, or noonies, or whatever the heck people call it.
I love it. I love it. What a great closing. I can't even close out with anything else. And so on that note, we thank you so much, Bevy.
Thank you.
I have really surmised this whole conversation. You have taken the time to enlighten us and inspire us and give us hope. And now we know that we can live in freedom like you. And you are such a beacon of light to so many women that are watching it, not only on here, but across, the television screens. And we just appreciate you so much for your candor. We appreciate you for your honesty. And we appreciate you for breaking your silence tonight on Fibroid Centers about what you have endured and what you're going through. And we hope that this message tonight will help somebody.